The boredom latches onto me. It is daylight, 81 degrees. I should be outside, enjoying the breeze, but I've been hiding in these same sheets for weeks. Well, I say to you, let's go back to bed, 'cause there are some things that are better left unsaid. Well, this medication's strong and feeling low. I guess you always have to try before you know. You say come here, love, but it'll be fine. Just come play with me. Ignoring reality, I said it's only a dream. It's only a dream. I wish you could somehow complete me. I would give it to you all now, but I kinda lost my key. I've been hiding, but I kinda lost the dream. I've been hiding, but I kinda lost the dream. Well, this medication's strong and I'm feeling low. I guess you always have to try before you know. You say come here, love, but it'll be fine. Just talk to me. Ignoring reality, it's only a dream.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I got this.
You got one more. Oh, hey, yo, listen. You gotta kill the janitors.
Chill.
Those are working class Americans.
Percy, step forward. Percy, step forward. Stop lollygagging. All right.
So, this is Camp Half-Blood.
Half meaning what?
I think you know.
half meaning half mortal, half god. Whoa! Guys, watch the arrows. Newcomer, hello. Gosh, look, man. Remember all the myths about great gods and goddesses? Well, they're not myths. Remember what Mr. Bruner said? Sometimes they come down to Earth and they fall in love with mortals, and then they have kids?
No way.
Yes way. Yep, you're a demigod. Check this out. Yeah, you like that, huh? See, man, this place right here. There you go. The place where you learn to harness your powers.
I think you're the wrong guy, all right? I'm not a hero. I'm a loser. I have dyslexia, ADHD.
And those are your greatest gifts.
Yeah, about that.
I'm messing with you. Smile, smile.
Yo, Frank. What up? Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, the son of Messiah is coming through. Oh, Purse, watch out.
Hey.
Whoa, you guys gonna kill the man and save the world? Great job. All you guys take a lunch break. Thank you. Check this out.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled programming for this special report.
This
Check this
is
out.
Percy Jackson. This is Percy Jackson. Percy, take this to defend yourself. It's a powerful weapon.
This is a pen. This is a pen. How flippin' awesome was that? I just...
Join me for an adventure, oh, much like any other, with twists and turns and plot devices, words and wonder. Now my advice is listen close. What makes this story different is the teller and the told. This one's ours and it's waiting to unfold. So come be merry with me. Yeah. Oh, come be merry with me. Come on, be merry with me. Join me for an adventure, oh, much like any other, with twists and turns and plot devices, words and wonder. Now my advice is listen close. What makes this story different is the teller and the told. This one's ours and it's waiting to unfold. All right. Welcome, guys. How's everybody doing? I am back. I'm back. I'm back and ready for some more Lost Hero at long last. I sincerely apologize for the brief hiatus. Oh, Ron, you were sleeping so soundly. Sorry, I gotta let the cat out. Go on, buddy. Whoa. Well, one left and one came in. And we got Harry here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. I want to show you. He's very nice. Mwah. Okay. Down you go. Ah! Don't rip out my ear. Okay. Sorry for the brief interruption. Yeah, that's little Harry. He's quite adorable. I don't know. I gotta keep an eye out though, cause a lot of times they wanna come into the room, and then they like hang out for 5 seconds before they start scratching on the door. But Ron was sleeping in here super soundly for a good little while. He found himself a little nook and just took a nice little cat nap. I have to change every one of my bolts from silver to black. Marketing. Every one of your bolts? Like nuts and bolts? Like you're talking mechanics? If that is the case, goodness. That sounds like quite the process. I wish you the best of luck. I am an engineer, so I have lots of bolts. No doubt about it. Well, guys, man, it's so good to see, my favorite folks. The day I come back, I didn't get the chance to really announce that I'd be coming back. I didn't even plan on the hiatus, to be honest. But yeah, let me do a little explaining. I feel as though you guys certainly deserve that much. I was having some trouble. I was struggling, especially over the weekend. Just got hit with a real bad case of that good old thing that rhymes with session that each of us have run into from time to time. A little known thing called depression. Shoot, no, I don't want to make a joke of it. Bless you, Harry. He done sneezed. The depresso, indeed. And I hadn't been hit with that intense of a depression in a while, and it has to do with some things that I ran into recently that brought back some I don't know. It made it clear to me that something was missing from my life, and I didn't know what to do about it. And then once I did know what to do about it, I wasn't sure if that's what I truly wanted to do. Oh, Ava, I'm so glad you didn't as well. It's good to have you here. Yeah, I'll leave it at that, I think. I wound up, just struggling to care for myself once again. Putting myself to bed super late, sleeping for an ungodly amount of time, and yeah, not eating too well. But alas, I was searching for something over the weekend, and I didn't find it. But come Monday, I think I did find it. And it was I don't know, it was a really cool time. It was one of those big moments in your life that you remember for some time. And it was simple too. You know, it was good. So regardless, things turned around for me on Monday. Was it a cat? Oh, there he goes. Alright, out you go, man. In or out, dude, in or out. The cats did help. I can certainly attest to that for sure. But no, it wasn't a cat. Why do I say the same exact thing to my cat? OMG. They have a tendency to just sit in the door. Yep. And I'm a guy that keeps my door closed, you know. I live with roommates, so and I like my privacy. Hey, Lay. What's shaking? How's it hanging? It's good to have you, Lay. Man, we're getting all my favorite folks. The peeps that I remember fondly from that time long ago when I would stream and read books online. That was a wild time, wasn't it? Seems like so long ago. I finally made a stream again. Nice, Lay. It's been like a year. I know. Too long. But, heck. I guess, that time was not exactly well spent. For me, at least. But I pray it was well spent for you guys. I got a family now. Shaking my head. Dude, I'm proud of you, at least. You've done more in the year than I could have ever hoped to. Alright, so I don't know. Let me see. What else can I update you guys on? No, I've slept. Made a song or two. Nice, man. That's good. I've worked on some music as well. I have this song in the works that relates to a lot of the stuff that I've been struggling with. And I had to just put that one to the side for a little while. Oh, Mitch, you got a family here. You're darn right I do. I literally had to search for things to fall asleep to. Because I'm so used to falling asleep during the stream. Oh, Ava. Sadness, the true motivation to art. Weird. Yeah, I had a conversation with someone yesterday about how she found that nighttime is when she wound up most creative. She considered nighttime and the late hours to be her most creative hours. And that resonated with me, man. I was like, yes. Yes. And I think part of the reason is that I feel like nighttime brings on more vulnerability. It brings on in the heart. Indeed. It also takes pressure off, you know? feel like during daylight hours, there's a serious sense of, oh gosh, I need to not waste any hour of this day. The moments that I am awake during the day are so much more important than, than the moments at night. And, all you really lose if you do wind up staying up and getting into that creative zone is a couple hours of sleep, which, if you're a creative like I am, we tend to not think of that as too much of a loss. Morning is focus time. Night is creative time. I literally started writing a song about heartbreak at like 2 a.m. Well, I hope you were able to find some peace, in that writing. I start my senior year tomorrow, and I'm so not ready. It doesn't feel real. Let's see, how do you say your name? Aren't Feeney? Feeney? Or is it meant to be funny? Please help. I have no clue how to say your name. Aren't I funny? Shoot, dude. Username was taken. Yeah, no doubt. Sorry, now that I know how to say your name. Welcome, Aren't I Funny? Aren't I Finny? Yo! I agree, Ava. I dig that. Well, Finn. That's an excellent name. I don't know if I've even met a Finn before. That's too smart for me. Brain hurting. Heck yeah. I'm a big fan of including one's actual name in your username, as you might be able to tell. Thank you. It's designer. I don't doubt it. Well, welcome. Finn, have you been to the stream before? This is a nice little time where, in an effort to practice my voice acting, I read aloud a book for your listening pleasure and my own practice. It's a pretty nice time, and I think the folks here are brilliant, beautiful, bright, brimming with personality, bodacious. Nah, mate, I'm just silly. Hey, that works too. I would argue you're more than that, but... So, let me, alright, before we get into the recap, let me update you guys on a couple of other things that have gone on in my life. So, things turned around a bit for me on Monday, but today, and part of the reason was because Monday was my first day back at work in ages, what feels like. I popped in a while back and followed, but I'm usually streaming around now. But because of school, I got off stream early, and you went live. Whoa! I was happy to see the notification. Oh, Finn, that means a lot. I'm glad to see you back. Hey, how could I forget Bootylicious? My word. Of all the B adjectives, how did that one slip my mind? That's okay. I won't let it happen again. But I started back at work. If you guys have been following for a while, you know that I coach little munchkins. I coach the kiddos. Sorry, Ava. But I coach kids in gymnastics and tumbling and trampoline. And having that be away from from my day to day for a month or so, even. Like, just that amount of time was enough to leave me struggling for things to find purpose in, and passion. What are you doing drinking water at this hour? Indeed. Who drinks water at nearly 11:30 at night? What the heck? It was a good joke. I like it. It's a classic. Great Gazoo! Great googly moogly. It's the Gazoo. Him or herself. Welcome back. Dude, I'm seeing so many lovely folks today. I thought it was, OMG, it's me, Ava. Me, Ava? And I was like, wow, that's a different name. Oofies. We gotta hydrate. Yeah, I actually had trouble deciphering Ava's name as well. whenever I first came across it. What did I think it was? I think I did think it was OMG, it's Mava. And I called her Mava for at least the first hour or so that she was in the stream. Literally everyone does it. It's okay. Good. Yeah, I've tried to get less miffed about messing up names, because I feel like it's blown out of proportion so often, and yet so many folks say like, it's no big deal. But yet, that response tends to elicit the reaction of like, no, seriously, like I feel so bad that I messed up your name. When in reality, if we just listen to the other person and them saying, hey, it's okay, it happens all the time, we leave it at that and be like, sweet. I don't know. I understand why that reaction happens, but I just find it silly, and it blows it out of proportion, like I said. Go to school with people for years, and I still never learned their names. Me too, not gonna lie. Hey Mish, how are you? How am I? I'm doing good. I'm doing real good, man. Like I said, I am back to work, so I got off my shift an hour or so ago and got home at 8. The kids I'm coaching too, I have new classes, so it's a few familiar faces but some new faces that I'm coaching, and all the new kids that I've had have been absolute delights. They're just super cool, and the ones that I recognize, it's super cool to see, them recognize me as well and be like, yo, we back in action. It was, my God, I wound up like elated that first day back, and still tonight I was elated and felt the best that I felt in a while, simply working again. I felt fulfilled, and I feel fulfilled right now. And it's motivated me to get back to another thing that I love, which is reading to you dudes. Jobs? Enjoyment? At first I thought you said employment. Never would have guessed. I know, man, I know. It's an unheard of concept for most. And don't get me wrong, there are moments that I struggle with work, but for the most part, it's incredible. It's the best job I have ever had. Yeah, since childhood. Even better than my movie theater job growing up. Which, honest to goodness, that place was a blast. It was a tiny theater, one with only 4 theaters within it. And they were significantly smaller than a regular, you know, RTX or something. I forget what the brands are. I get that. You're too lazy to bring it closer. I understand, man. And hey, this is a time to be lazy. This is a time for you guys to sit back and relax, as well as me. Well, heck yeah. So, are we ready to get into this recap? It's been a while, but I surprisingly remember what happened better than I thought I would. Also, if you're curious as to why it jumped from chapter 23 to chapter 34, I was reading the chapter numbers completely wrong, and we are on chapter 34. So in the past few streams, it was meant to be in the 30s, not the 20s. Roman numerals, dude. I don't know how I messed that up. I must have really been out of it or something. English is my first language, and I can barely speak it. I plan on streaming soon. Nice. X equals 10, dude. I know. I'm not saying I'm not embarrassed, because I certainly am. But I don't know, I'm more bewildered than embarrassed. I have no idea how I did that. How I screwed up like that. Because I go in chronological order. That must mean, like, I have no idea how it, like, at what stream did I shift back to, like, 20 or something? Oh, I have to sleep. Sorry I couldn't stay and enjoy The Lost Hero. That's alright, Great Gazoo. I'm hoping to be on tomorrow as well, so I hope to see you then. Anyone want a copy of Harry Potter? I saw that on the Discord. I think I own a copy already, but I appreciate it. And yes, sleep well, Great Gazoo. May you feel at ease as you lay down for rest. I have a small library of books already. Aw, dude. Night-night is such a beautiful way of saying goodnight. Night-night. It's simple, and it sounds so nice. Night-night, nice. Heck yeah. Well, okay, guys. Last we left off on The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. Our heroes bumped into a king of old. Yet another mortal that has seemingly resurrected. My apologies. My dinner isn't sitting well with me. The words are being spoken, no doubt about it. They ran into yet another mortal who has seemingly broken the mortal coil with the aid of a patron of sorts, seemingly this Earth Mother. This king was the infamous King Midas of old, the one who attained the ability to turn anything he touched to gold, and apparently used that ability to turn his daughter to gold, which is kind of wild. I think that was an accident the first time, but when he begged for a way to get her back, and he put her in the rushing water and, turned her back to normal, he wound up freezing her again, this time on purpose, because simply she was getting annoying, giving King Midas more of a malicious character. Before that, though, before they bumped into Midas, there was an incident. As our heroes flew with the cages that they had retrieved from Medora, right? Her name was, or was it Medea? Medea. The two cages they had gotten from Medea, one with the storm spirits for Aeolus, the god of the winds, and the other hosting the frozen figure of their coach and friendly satyr, Hedge. Festus started struggling. Leo noticed and realized, guys, we need to set down. We are going down. Festus can't keep carrying this load. We got to find a way to lighten it somehow. As they descended, somewhat quickly, Leo, actually quite quickly, Leo yells to Piper and Jason for them to jump off and for Jason to carry Piper down to the ground, as Leo would land with Festus and meet them down there. He was thinking, okay, where do I land? Surveying the land before him, and he recognized a lake that he could set down in, but realized quickly that a fire-breathing bronze metallic dragon automaton would probably not fare well if he shut down and sank to the bottom of a lake. So he opted to try to land in the bounds of seemingly the property of some rich family with sprawling grounds, and he would have to just apologize to them later. But as he approached and passed over the walls, Festus was struck by some kind of flash. An explosion occurred, and the next thing Leo knows, he's lying on his back on the ground, coming back to consciousness as Piper and Jason look over him. Leo immediately asks, as soon as he's conscious enough, where is Festus? What happened? And as he sits up, Piper says, whoa, that might not be a good idea. But Leo ignores her, sits up and surveys the carnage around him. The wreckage of his beloved bronze dragon, which had seemingly been torn to pieces. Jason and Piper revealed to him that, we saw the whole thing. It looked like a laser that shot out of the wall and obliterated Festus. If it had not been for Festus taking the fall, Jason and Piper might have been shot down instead. So, with the sacrifice of Leo's dear friend, his dear companion, he tries to carry on. After pleading with his father desperately, "Please take the head of my friend. Take it back to Bunker 9. If you have any love for me, still. Take him." And, lo and behold, the, weighted and heavy head of Festus suddenly gets carried away by the wind, as though it were no lighter than a feather. Leo realizes, well, with the defenses so high on the walls, there's no getting out. So, we'll have to go in. After disarming some traps and not speaking another word since losing his best friend, Leo, Coach Hedge, Piper, and Jason enter this house in the middle of the grounds. The first thing they think is, wow, this place is dark. It's hard to see really anything, and they kind of set up shop and kind of camp out in the living room of this abode. Leo sets to work on opening Hedge's cage to get him out. And, Jason and Leo have a brief talk. Jason trying to be encouraging, and Leo seemingly getting back a little bit of his snarkiness rather than the deep sadness that had settled over him. Jason even apologized for the stuff he said when he was under the control of Medea. Jason says, "Leo, you're not actually annoying. I didn't actually mean that." And Leo retorts with that classic snarkiness of, "I try very hard to be annoying. Excuse me. Don't insult my ability to be annoying." He still puts himself down a bit, but it seemed to help. And that's good. Jason awoke to Coach Hedge screaming and running around at full speed, seemingly trying to kill anything with a pulse. They get Mr. DEFCON 1 in order and under control, and out steps into the room a elderly, kind of, I think it said plump man. And this man turned out to be King Midas, as I said earlier. King Midas decides to have a bit of a chat with them. Our heroes trying to play their cards right and get the information they want out of him.
without revealing too much on their side, King Midas reveals that, he's not entirely sure how he wound up back alive again, but he does know that he owes his patron a great debt. And with his power, he is likely to be able to pay it back. It's revealed that the Hunters, the group that Thalia Grace, the daughter of Zeus who joined up with the Hunters, leads now, had passed through King Midas's home and seemingly had given him a bit of trouble. And he gave them the information that the Hunters were heading west. But that's all they got out of him. I forgot the guy's name was Lityerses, his son. So Midas gives our heroes a choice and says, either you can be turned to gold, or you can die fighting my son, Lityerses. Jason has to watch as both Piper and Leo get turned to gold before his eyes. He starts to panic and think that this might be the end, until he pauses and recalls that, hey Midas, you said I could die, or I could fight Lityerses instead. Midas corrects him and says, you could die fighting Lityerses. But he chooses this route anyhow, and is able to trick Midas into turning his son to gold yet again. After this, Midas is outraged, but using some good old lightning and some quick-wittedness, Jason is able to blast Midas and trap him under a chandelier. Hedge runs back in at the end, yelling and screaming and, making a big hoo-ha. But alas, our dear Coach Hedge missed the fight because he was getting a snack outside. Man, oh man. That guy. Piper woke up cold and shivering. Shark bait. Ooh ha ha. Ooh ha ha. It seemed that Piper wouldn't get turned back from being goldified quite as easily as Leo, so they had to dip her fully in the river, which left her with hypothermia. They risked as much nectar as they could to get her healed back up, but she still remained quite cold. Piper realized that they also were no longer where they were before, on the premises of King Midas. They were instead taking shelter from a snowstorm in a cave. Oh, shoot, this is also kind of an important note. They got a backpack that was turned to gold by King Midas, and it turns out that it made it magic as well. So they were able to hold all of these storm spirits that were once in the big cage in simply a little backpack, which makes travel a lot easier. I'm trying to find what else might have been important in this last scene, other than Piper and Jason cuddling up together and getting all close and cute and junk. Leo interrupts their cuddling and says, "On the way to Omaha, I had this dream." And I kept being interrupted by Wheel of Fortune, of all things. He reveals to them what Hephaestus had told him, and simply the fact that Hephaestus had contacted him. Coach Hedge winds up saying something quite intelligent for once, saying the gods hate needing humans. They like to be needed by humans, but not the other way around. Things will have to get a whole lot worse before Zeus admits he made a mistake closing Olympus. Piper is immensely impressed, and Hedge huffs and says, What? I am totally intelligent. What the heck?" He fills them in a little bit on what occurred in the Giant War. I'm gonna cuddle up with my stuffies now and fall asleep, but I'm still listening. Heck yeah, man. I hope you enjoy as you drift off to sleep. May my dulcet tones set you at ease. So they get filled in a fair bit. About, let me see if there's anything in specific that we don't already know. Oh, we actually got a little bit of background on Coach Hedge. He's 106 years old, so he's about in his mid-50s, roughly, human-wise. He's been a protector a long time, but the Cloven Elders decided that he was getting a little bit unpredictable and violent. Hey, nai, Ava. Nai. Yeah, and during the Titan War, in the previous books, Coach was sent far away and wound up in the wilderness school. It's kind of cool that we got to hear a little bit more about the dear Coach. And that's what was in this. That's right. The other immensely important thing that occurred in this final chapter that we read last time was Piper finally revealed the fact that she's been a double agent this entire time, or been intending to betray her friends this entire time in an effort to, bring back her dad safe and sound. For her dad is being held captive by a great and terrible giant. We get a little flashback about Piper and her dad, leading to a legend that her dad told her. The one about a Cherokee woman seeing a snake near her children and killing it with a rock. Leading the husband to try to make peace with the snakes. The snakes telling him that, okay, you have to send your wife to us and let us take her life. Otherwise, we'll swarm in and destroy you all, basically. The man was heartbroken, but he did what they asked. The snakes were impressed that he gave up so much to make things right, that from then on, if you sang a particular song, any snake would recognize you as someone that the man knew and would not bite you. And this was intended to show, the lesson of giving up something and sacrificing something for the sake of, safety in the future, or for the sake of something else. Oh, thank you for the host. I appreciate that, Finn. So Piper finally revealed things to her friends. She waited after she revealed things for them to chide her and shun her and kick her out and yell or scream or something. But her two friends did no such thing. In fact, they want to help her. And they're only sorry that she didn't reveal this sooner, that she had to be carrying that kind of weight and that kind of struggle for so long by herself when her friends were right next to her. Gosh, dude, sorry, that was a beautiful moment from the last chapter. It's getting dangerously close to the fated day, the winter solstice, the deadline for bringing Era to safety. So let's find out what proceeds in these following chapters. Yeah, we're going into actual, the true to the form bedtime story. So worry not, Finn. Let me grab a sip of water and we'll get underway. So, this is The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. Chapter 34, Piper. "Wolves," Piper said. "They sound close." Jason rose and summoned his sword. Leo and Coach Hedge got to their feet too. Piper tried, but black spots danced before her eyes. "Stay there," Jason told her. "We'll protect you." She gritted her teeth. She hated feeling helpless. She didn't want anyone to protect her. First the stupid ankle, now stupid hypothermia. She wanted to be on her feet, with her dagger in hand. Then, just outside, the firelight at the entrance of the cave, she saw a pair of red eyes glowing in the dark. Okay, she thought. Maybe a little protection is fine. More wolves edged into the firelight. Black beasts, bigger than Great Danes, with ice and snow caked on their fur. Their fangs gleamed, and their glowing red eyes looked disturbingly intelligent. The wolf in front was almost as tall as a horse. His mouth stained, as if he'd just made a fresh kill. Piper pulled her dagger out of its sheath. Then Jason stepped forward and said something in Latin. Piper didn't think a dead language would have much effect on wild animals, but the alpha wolf curled his lip. The fur stood up along his spine. One of his lieutenants tried to advance, but the alpha wolf snapped at his ear. Then all of the wolves backed into the dark. Whew. Dude, I gotta study Latin. Leo's hammer shook in his hand. What did you say, Jason? Hedge cursed.
Whatever it wasn't enough. Look.
The wolves were coming back, but the alpha wolf wasn't with them. They didn't attack. They waited. At least a dozen now, in a rough semicircle just outside the firelight, blocking the cave exit. The coach hefted his club.
Here's the plan. I'll kill them all, and you guys escape.
Coach, they'll rip you apart, Piper said.
Nah, I'm good.
Then Piper saw the silhouette of a man coming through the storm. Sorry, I lost my place. One moment. A fruit fly flew to my finger. Ugh. Then Piper saw the silhouette of a man coming through the storm, wading through the wolf pack. Stick together, Jason said. They respect the pack. And Hedge, no crazy stuff. We're not leaving you or anyone else behind. Piper got a lump in her throat. She was the weak link in their pack right now. No doubt the wolves would smell her fear. She might as well be wearing a sign that said, "Free lunch." The wolves parted, and the man stepped into the firelight. His hair was greasy and ragged, the color of the fireplace soot-topped. The color of fireplace soot, topped with a crown of what looked like finger bones. His robes were tattered fur, wolf, rabbit, raccoon, deer, and several others Piper couldn't identify. The furs didn't look cured, and from the smell, they weren't very fresh. His frame was lithe and muscular, like a distance runner's, but the most horrible thing was his face. His thin, pale skin was pulled tight over his skull. His teeth were sharpened like fangs. His eyes glowed bright, red like his wolves. And they fixed on Jason with absolute hatred.
Yeah,
He said,
Fili Rumani. Speak English, Wolfman!
Hedge bellowed. The wolfman snarled.
Tell your fawn to mind his tongue, son of Rome, or he'll be my first snack.
Piper remembered that fawn was the Roman name for satyr. Not exactly helpful information. Now, if she could remember who this wolf guy was in Greek mythology and how to defeat him, that she could use. The wolfman studied their little group. His nostrils twitched. So, it's true, he mused. A child of Aphrodite, a son of Hephaestus, a faun, and a child of Rome. The lord of Jupiter, no less. All together, without killing each other. How interesting. How interesting. You were told about us, Jason asked. By whom? The man snarled. Perhaps a laugh, perhaps a challenge. Oh, we've been patrolling you. All across the West, demigod. Hoping we'd be the first to find you. The king, the giant king, will reward me well when he rises. I am Lycaon, king of the wolves, and my pack is hungry. The wolves snarled in the darkness. Hey, welcome, Venus. Thank you for the follow, man. Out of the corner of her eye, Piper saw Leo put up his hammer and slip something else from his tool belt. A glass bottle full of clear liquid. Piper racked her brain, trying to place the wolf guy's name. She knew she'd heard it before, but she couldn't remember details. Lycaon glared at Jason's sword. He moved to each side, as if looking for an opening, but Jason's blade moved with him. Leave, Jason ordered. There's no food for you here. Unless you want tofu burgers, Leo offered. Lycaon bared his fangs. Apparently he wasn't a tofu fan. If I had my way, Lycaon said with regret, I'd kill you first, son of Jupiter. Your father made me what I am. I was the powerful mortal king of Arcadia, with 55 sons, and Zeus slew them all with his lightning bolts. Ha! Coach Edge said. For a good reason! Jason glanced over his shoulder. Coach, you know this clown? I do, Piper answered. The details of the myth came back to her. A short, horrible story she and her father had laughed at over breakfast. She wasn't laughing now. Lycaon invited Zeus to dinner, she said, but the king wasn't sure if it was really Zeus. So, to test his powers, Lycaon tried to feed him human flesh. Zeus got outraged. And killed my sons! Lycaon howled. The wolves behind him howled too. So, Zeus turned him into a wolf, Piper said. They call werewolves lycanthropes, named after him, the first werewolf. The king of wolves. The king of wolves, Coach Hedge finished. An immortal, smelly, vicious mutt. Lycaon growled. I will tear you apart. Fun. Oh, you want some goat, buddy? 'Cause I'll give you goat. Stop it, Jason said. Lycaon, you said you wanted to kill me first. But sadly, child of Rome, you are spoken for. Since this one, he waggled his claw at Piper, has failed to kill you, you are to be delivered alive to the Wolf House. One of my compatriots has asked for the honor of killing you herself. Who? Jason said. The Wolf King snickered. Oh, a great admirer of yours. Apparently, you made quite an impression on her. She will take care of you soon enough, and I really cannot complain. Spill your blood at the Wolf House. Will mark my new territory quite well. Lupa will think twice about challenging my pack. Piper's heart tried to jump out of her chest. She didn't understand everything Lycaon had said, but a woman who wanted to kill Jason? Medea, she thought. Somehow she must have survived the explosion. Piper struggled to her feet. Spots danced before her eyes again. The cave seemed to spin. You're going to leave now, Piper said. Before we destroy you. She tried to put power into the words, but she was too weak. Shivering in her blankets, pale and sweaty and barely able to hold a knife. She couldn't have looked very threatening. Lycaon's red eyes crinkled with humor. A brave try, girl. I admire that. Perhaps I'll make your end quick. Only the son of Jupiter is needed alive. The rest of you... I'm afraid our dinner... At that moment, Piper knew she was going to die. But at least she'd die on her feet, fighting next to Jason. Jason took a step forward. You're not killing anyone, Wolfman. Not without going through me. Lycaon howled and extended his claws. Jason slashed at him, but his golden sword passed straight through, as if the Wolf King wasn't there. Lycaon laughed. Gold, bronze, steel, none of these are any good against my wolves, son of Jupiter. Son of Jupiter. Silver! Piper cried. Aren't wolves hurt by silver? We don't have any silver, Jason said. Wolves leapt into the firelight. Hedge charged forward with an elated, "Woo! Whoo!" But Leo struck first. He threw his glass bottle, and it shattered on the ground, splattering liquid all over the wolves. The unmistakable smell of gasoline. He shot a burst of fire at the puddle, and a wall of flames erupted. Wolves yelped and retreated. Several caught fire and had to run back into the snow. Even Lycaon looked uneasily at the barrier of flames now separating his wolves from the demigods.
Ah, come on!
Coach Hedge complained.
I can't hit them if they're way over there.
Every time a wolf came closer, Leo shot a new wave of fire from his hands. But each effort seemed to make him a little more tired, and the gasoline was already dying down.
I can't summon any more gas!
Leo warned. Then his face turned red.
Wow! That came out wrong. I mean, the burning kind. Gonna take the tool belt a while to recharge. What you got, man? Gonna take the tool belt a while to recharge. What you got, man?
Nothing, Jason said. Not even a weapon that works.
Lightning?
Piper asked. Jason concentrated, but nothing happened.
I think the snowstorm is interfering or something. Unleash the Venti,
Piper said.
Then we'll have nothing to give Aeolus, Jason said. We've come all the way for nothing. We've come all this way for nothing.
Lycaon laughed. I can smell your fear. A few more minutes of life, heroes. Pray to whatever gods you wish. Zeus did not grant me mercy, and you will have none from me. The flames began to sputter out. Jason cursed and dropped his sword. He crouched like he was ready to go hand to hand. Leo pulled his hammer out of his pack. Piper raised her dagger. Not much, but it was all she had. Coach Hedge hefted his club, and he was the only one who looked excited about dying. Then, a ripping sound cut through the wind. Like a piece of tearing cardboard, a long stick sprouted from the neck of the nearest wolf. A shaft of a silver arrow. The wolf writhed and fell, melting into a puddle of shadow. More arrows. More wolves fell. The pack broke in confusion. An arrow flashed toward Lycaon, but the Wolf King caught it in midair. Then he yelled in pain. When he dropped the arrow, it left a charred, smoking gash across his palm. Another arrow caught him in the shoulder, and the Wolf King staggered.
Curse them!
Lycaon yelled. He growled at his pack, and the wolves turned and ran. Lycaon fixed Jason with those glowing red eyes. This isn't over, boy. This isn't over, boy. The Wolf King disappeared into the night. Seconds later, Piper heard more wolves baying, but the sound was different, less threatening, more like hunting dogs on the scent. A smaller, white wolf burst into the cave, followed by two more. Hedge said,
"Kill it!"
"No," Piper said. "Wait." The wolves tilted their heads and studied the campers with huge, golden eyes. A heartbeat later, their masters appeared, A troop of hunters in white and gray winter camouflage. At least half a dozen. All of them carried bows with quivers of glowing silver arrows on their backs. Their faces were covered with parka hoods, but clearly they were all girls. One, a little taller than the rest, crouched in the firelight and snatched up the arrow that had wounded Lycaon's hand. So close. So close. She turned to her companions. Phoebe, stay with me. Watch the entrance. The rest of you follow Lycaon. We can't lose him now. I'll catch up with you. The other hunters mumbled agreement and disappeared, heading after Lycaon's pack. The girl in white turned towards them, her face still hidden in her parka hood. We've been following that demon's trail for over a week. Is everyone all right? No one got bit? Jason stood frozen, staring at the girl. Piper realized something about her voice sounded familiar. It was hard to pin down, but the way she spoke, the way she formed her words, reminded her of Jason. You're her, Piper guessed. You're Thalia. The girl tensed. Piper was afraid she might draw her bow, but instead she pulled down her parka hood. Her hair was spiky black, with a silver tiara across her brow. Her face had a super healthy glow to it, as if she were a little more than human. And her eyes were brilliant blue. She was the girl from Jason's photograph. Do I know you? Thalia asked. Piper took a breath. This might be a shock, but... Thalia. Jason stepped forward, his voice trembling. I'm... Jason. Your brother? Your brother. Dang, man. I hope we see more of Lycaon, dude. Chapter 35. Leo. I agree, Sammy. That was a lot. Whew. Leo figured he had the worst luck in the group, and that was saying a lot. Why didn't he get to have the long-lost sister, or the movie star dad who needed rescuing? All he got was a tool belt and a dragon that broke down halfway through the quest. Maybe it was the stupid curse of the Hephaestus cabin, but Leo didn't think so. His life had been unlucky way before he got to camp. 1,000 years from now, when this quest was being told around a campfire, he figured people would talk about brave Jason, beautiful Piper, and their sidekick, Flaming Valdez, who accompanied them with a bag of magic screwdrivers and occasionally fixed tofu burgers. If that wasn't bad enough, Leo immediately thought she was way too pretty to be Jason's sister. Then he thought he'd better not say that, or he'd get in trouble. He liked her dark hair, her blue eyes, and her confident attitude. She looked like that kind of girl who could stomp anybody on the ball court or the battlefield and wouldn't give Leo the time of day. Just Leo's type. For a minute, Jason and Thalia faced each other, stunned. Then Thalia rushed forward and hugged him. My God! She told me you were dead. She told me you were dead. She gripped Jason's face and seemed to be examining everything about it. Thank Artemis. It is you. That little scar on your lip. You tried to eat a stapler when you were 2. Leo laughed. Seriously? Hedge nodded, like he approved of Jason's taste. Staplers. Excellent source of iron. Excellent source of iron. Wait, Jason stammered. Who told you I was dead? What happened? At the cave entrance, one of the white wolves barked. Thalia looked back at the wolf and nodded, but she kept her hands on Jason's face, like she was afraid he might vanish. My wolf is telling me I don't have much time, and she's right. But we have to talk. Let's sit. Let's sit. Piper did better than that. She collapsed. She would have cracked her head on the cave floor if Hedge hadn't have caught her. Thalia rushed over. Oh. What's wrong with her? Never mind. I see. Hypothermia. Ankle. She frowned at the satyr. Don't you know nature healing? Hedge scoffed.
Why do you think she looks this good? Why do you think she looks this good? Can't you smell the Gatorade?
Thalia looked at Leo for the first time. And of course, it was an accusatory glare. Like, why did you let the goat be a doctor? As if that was Leo's fault. You and the satyr, Thalia ordered. Take this girl to my friend at the entrance. Phoebe's an excellent healer. Phoebe's an excellent healer.
It's cold out there,
Hedge said.
I'll freeze my horns off.
But Leo knew when they weren't wanted. Come on, Hedge. These two need time to talk.
Fine,
the satyr muttered.
Didn't even get to brain anybody.
Hedge carried Piper toward the entrance. Leo was about to follow when Jason called. Actually, man, could you, stick around? Leo saw something in Jason's eyes he didn't expect. Jason was asking for support. He wanted somebody else there. He was scared. Leo grinned. Sticking around, that's my specialty. That's my specialty. Thalia didn't look too happy about it, but the three of them sat at the fire. For a few minutes, nobody spoke. Jason studied his sister like she was a scary device. One that might explode if handled incorrectly. Thalia seemed more at ease, as if she was used to stumbling across stranger things than lost than long-lost relatives. But still, she regarded Jason in a kind of amazed trance. Maybe remembering a little 2-year-old who tried to eat a stapler. Leo took a few pieces of copper wire out of his pockets and twisted them together. Finally, he couldn't stand the silence. So, the Hunters of Artemis. This whole not dating thing, is that like always? Or more of a seasonal thing, or what? Dahlia stared at him, as if he just evolved from pond scum. Yeah, he was definitely liking this girl. Jason kicked him in the shin. Don't mind Leo. He's just trying to break the ice. But Thalia, what happened to our family? Who told you I was dead? Thalia tugged at a silver bracelet on her wrist. In the firelight, in her winter camouflage, she almost looked like Kione, the snow princess. Just as cold, and just as beautiful. Do you remember anything? She asked. Jason shook his head. I woke up 3 days ago on a bus with Leo and Piper. Which wasn't our fault, Leo added hastily. Era stole his memories. Dahlia tensed. Era? How do you know that? Jason explained about their quest. Era, how do you know that? Jason explained about their quest. The prophecy at camp. Era getting imprisoned. The Giant King. The Giant taking Piper's dad. And the winter solstice deadline. Leo chimed in to add the important stuff. How he'd fixed the bronze dragon. Could throw fireballs. And made excellent tacos. Dahlia was a good listener. Nothing seemed to surprise her. The monsters, the prophecies, the dead rising. But when Jason mentioned King Midas, she cursed in ancient Greek. I knew we should have burned down his mansion, she said. That man's a menace. But we were so intent on following Lycaon. Well, I'm glad you got away. So Era's been... what? Hiding you all these years? I don't know. Jason brought out the photo from his pocket. She left me just enough memory to recognize your face. Dahlia looked at the picture, and her expression softened. I'd forgotten about that. I left it in cabin 1, didn't I? Jason nodded. I think Era wanted for us to meet. When we landed here at this cave, I had a feeling it was important. Like, I knew you were close by. Is that crazy? Nah, Leo assured him. We were absolutely destined to meet your hot sister. We were absolutely destined to meet your hot sister. Dahlia ignored him. Probably she just didn't want to let on how much Leo impressed her. Jason, she said, when you're dealing with the gods, nothing is too crazy. But you can't trust Era, especially since we're children of Zeus. She hates all the children of Zeus. But she said something about Zeus giving her Zeus giving her my life as a peace offering. Does that make any sense? The color drained from Thalia's face. Oh, gods. Mother wouldn't have... You don't remember. No, of course you don't. What? Jason asked. Thalia's features seemed to grow older in the firelight, like her immortality wasn't working so well. Jason, I'm not even sure how to say this. Our mom wasn't exactly stable. She caught Zeus's eye because she was a television actress. And she was beautiful, but she didn't handle the fame well. She drank, pulled stupid stunts. She was always in the tabloids. She could never get enough attention. Even before you were born, she and I argued all the time. She knew Dad was Zeus. And I think that was too much for her to take. It was like the ultimate achievement for her to attract the Lord of the Sky. And she couldn't accept it when he left. That's the thing about the gods. They don't hang around. Leo remembered his own mom, the way she'd assured him over and over that his dad would be back someday. But she'd never acted mad about it. She didn't seem to want Hephaestus for herself, only so Leo could know his father. She dealt with working a dead-end job, living in a tiny apartment, never having enough money. And she'd seemed fine with it. As long as she had Leo, she always said, life would be okay. He watched Jason's face, looking more and more devastated as Thalia described their mom. And for once, Leo didn't feel jealous of his friend. Leo might have lost his mom. He might have had some hard times, but at least he remembered her. He found himself tapping out a Morse code message on his knee. Love you. Love you. He felt bad for Jason, not having memories like that, not having anything to fall back on. So, Jason didn't seem able to finish the question. Jason, you got friends, Leo told him. Now you got a sister. You're not alone. Thalia offered her hand, and Jason took it. When I was about 7, she said, Zeus started visiting Mom again. I think he felt bad about wrecking her life, and he seemed different somehow. A little older and sterner, more fatherly towards me. For a while, Mom improved. She loved having Zeus around, bringing her presents, causing the sky to rumble. She always wanted more attention. That's the year you were born. Mom... Well, I never got along with her. But you gave me a reason to hang around. You were so cute. And I didn't trust Mom to look after you. Of course, Zeus eventually stopped coming by again. He probably couldn't stand Mom's demands anymore, always pestering him to let her visit Olympus, or to make her immortal, or eternally beautiful. When he left for good, Mom got more and more unstable. That was about the time the monsters started attacking me. Mom blamed Hera. She claimed the goddess was coming after you, too. That Hera had barely tolerated my birth, but 2 demigod children from the same family was too big of an insult. Mom even said she hadn't wanted to name you Jason. But Zeus insisted, as a way to appease Hera, because the goddess liked that name. I didn't know what to believe. Leo fiddled with his copper wires. He felt like an intruder. He shouldn't be listening to this. But it also made him feel like he was getting to know Jason for the first time. Like maybe being here now made up for those 4 months at wilderness school, when Leo had just imagined they'd had a friendship. "How'd you guys get separated?" he asked. Thalia squeezed her brother's hand. "If I'd known you were alive, gods, things would have been so different. But when you were 2, Mom packed us in the car for a family vacation. We drove up north toward the wine country to this park she wanted to show us. I remember thinking it was strange because Mom never took us anywhere. She was acting super nervous. I was holding your hand, walking you toward this big building in the middle of the park, and..." She took a shaky breath. "Mom told me to go back to the car and get the picnic basket. I didn't want to leave you alone with her, but it was only for a few minutes. When I came back, Mom was kneeling on the stone steps, hugging herself and crying. She said you were gone. She said Hera claimed you, and you were as good as dead. I didn't know what she'd done. I was afraid she'd completely lost her mind. I ran all over the place looking for you, but you just vanished. She had to drag me away, kicking and screaming. For the next few days, I was hysterical. I don't remember everything, but I called the police on Mom and they questioned her for a long time. Afterward, we fought. She told me I'd betrayed her, that I should support her like she was the only one who mattered. Finally, I couldn't stand it. Your disappearance was the last straw. I ran away from home, and I never went back. Not even when Mom died a few years ago. I thought you were gone. Forever. I never told anyone about you. Not even Annabeth or Luke, my 2 best friends. It was just too painful. Chiron knew. Jason's voice sounded far away. When I got to camp, he took one look at me and said, "You should be dead." That doesn't make sense. Thalia insisted. I never told him. Hey, Leo said. Important thing is, you've got each other now, right? You two are lucky. Thalia nodded. Leo's right. Look at you. You're my age. You've grown up. But where have I been? Jason said. How could I be missing all that time? And the Roman stuff. Thalia frowned. The Roman stuff? Your brother speaks Latin, Leo said. He calls gods by their Roman names. And he's got tattoos. Leo pointed out the marks on Jason's arm. Then he gave Thalia the rundown about the other weird stuff that had happened. Boreas turning into Aquilon. Lycaon calling Jason a child of Rome. And the wolves backing off when Jason spoke Latin to them. Thalia plucked her bowstring. Latin. Zeus sometimes spoke Latin. The second time he stayed with Mom. Like I said, he seemed different. More formal. You think he was in his Roman aspect? You think he was in his Roman aspect? Jason asked. And that's why I think of myself as a child of Jupiter. Possibly, Thalia said. I've never heard of something like that happening. But it might explain why you think in Roman terms. Why you can speak Latin rather than ancient Greek. That would make you unique. Still, it doesn't explain how you've survived without Camp Half-Blood. A child of Zeus or Jupiter, or whatever you want to call him, you would have been hounded by monsters. If you were on your own, you should have died years ago. I know I wouldn't have been able to survive without friends. You would have needed training, a safe haven. He wasn't alone, Leo blurted out. We've heard about others like him. Thalia looked at him strangely. What do you mean? Leo told her about the slashed-up purple shirt in Medea's department store, and the story the Cyclops told about the child of Mercury who spoke Latin. Isn't there anywhere else for demigods? Leo asked. I mean, besides Camp Half-Blood? Maybe some crazy Latin teacher has been abducting children of the gods or something? Make them think like Roman, you know? As soon as he said it, Leo realized how stupid the idea sounded. Thalia's dazzling blue eyes studied him intently, making him feel like a suspect in a lineup. I've been all over the country, Thalia mused. I've never seen evidence of a crazy Latin teacher or demigods in purple shirts. Still, her voice trailed off, like she just had a troubling thought. What? Jason asked. Thalia shook her head. I'll have to talk to the goddess. Maybe Artemis will guide us. She's still talking to you? Jason asked. Most of the gods have gone silent. Artemis follows her own rules, Thalia said. She has to be careful not to let Zeus know, but she thinks Zeus is being ridiculous closing Olympus. She's the one who set us on the trail of Lycaon. She said we'd find a lead to a missing friend of ours. Percy Jackson, Leo guessed. The guy Annabeth is looking for. Thalia nodded, her face full of concern. Leo wondered if anybody had ever looked that worried at all. The times he'd disappeared. He kinda doubted it. So, what would Lycaon have to do with it? Leo asked. And how does it connect to us? We need to find out soon, Thalia admitted. If your deadline is tomorrow, we're wasting time. Aeolus could tell you. The white wolf appeared again at the doorway and yipped insistently. I have to get moving, Thalia stood. Otherwise, I'll lose the other hunter's trail. First, though, I'll take you to Aeolus's palace. If you can't, it's okay, Jason said, though he sounded kind of distressed. Oh, please. Thalia smiled and helped him up. Oh, please. I haven't had a brother in years. I think I can stand a few minutes with you before you get annoying. Now, let's go! Ooh. Snippity snap, dude. We actually got a taste of Jason's history. Ooh. Oh, what's up, Amazing Gluck? Sorry, I didn't quite see the message during the reading. His mom going crazy was somehow worse than I'd imagined. Yeah, honestly. That'd be terrifying, to be honest. The idea of getting famous and then having your fame catch the eye of the Lord of the Gods himself. I mean, I don't know. It's no wonder she went crazy, right? She already had tendencies to seek attention from just her acting career. But then suddenly she gets, loved up by the Lord of the Sky. What else is gonna be better than that? I mean, there's a way to persevere in that, but I don't know. Her circumstances weren't too great. Man. And it's so good to see Thalia again. It's honestly been a while in the series. Chapter 36. Leo. In a moment. I do not. It's the lighting. Plus, it's stubble. Ah. Thanks for the little break. Ah, another one. Oh. Whew. If I'm not careful, I'll fall asleep under that book. I feel like I need to put a cap on how many you can redeem in one stream. That way, I'm still down to do, like, you know, the big stack, but it, you know, you can still get the big stack going, but you just have to coordinate with the rest of the folks in chat. Nah. Alright, off to Aeolus. Chapter 36. Leo. When Leo saw how well Piper and Hedge were being treated, he was thoroughly offended. He'd imagined them freezing their hindquarters off in the snow, but the hunter Phoebe had set up this silver tent pavilion right outside the cave. How she'd done it so fast, Leo had no idea. But inside was a kerosene heater, keeping them toasty warm, and a bunch of comfy throw pillows. Piper looked back to normal, decked out in a new parka, gloves, and camo pants like a hunter. She and Hedge and Phoebe were kicking back, drinking hot chocolate. "Oh, no way," Leo said. "We've been sitting in a cave, and you get the luxury tent? Somebody give me hypothermia. I want a hot chocolate and a parka. I want a hot chocolate and a parka." Phoebe sniffed. Boys. She said, like it was the worst insult she could think of. "It's all right, Phoebe," Dahlia said. "They'll need extra coats. And I think we can spare some hot chocolate." Phoebe grumbled, but soon Leo and Jason were also dressed in silvery winter clothes that were incredibly lightweight and warm. The hot chocolate was first rate.
"Cheers! Cheers!"
said Coach Hedge. He crunched down his plastic thermos cup. That cannot be good for your intestines," Leo said. Dahlia patted Piper on the back. "You up for moving?" Piper nodded. "Thanks to Phoebe, yeah. You guys are really good at this wilderness survival thing. I feel like I could run 10 miles. Dahlia winked at Jason. "She's tough for an Aphrodite kid. I like this one." Hey, I could run 10 miles too, Leo volunteered. Tough Hephaestus kid here. Let's hit it. Let's hit it. Naturally, Thalia ignored him. It took Phoebe exactly 6 seconds to break camp, which Leo could not believe. The tent self-collapsed into a square the size of a pack of chewing gum. Leo wanted to ask her for the blueprints, but they didn't have the time. Thalia ran uphill through the snow, hugging a tiny little path on the side of the mountain. And soon Leo was regretting trying to look macho, because the hunters left him in the dust. Coach Hedge leapt around like a happy mountain goat, coaxing them on like he used to do on track days at school.
Come on, Valdez, pick up the pace. Let's chant. I've got a girl in Kalamazoo.
Let's not, Thalia snapped. Let's not, Thalia snapped. So they ran in silence. Leo fell in next to Jason at the back of the group. How you doing, man? Jason's expression was enough of an answer. Not good. Thalia takes it so calmly, Jason said, like it's no big deal that I appeared. I didn't know what I was expecting, but she's not like me. She seems so much more together. Hey, she's not fighting amnesia, Leo said. Plus, she's had more time to get used to this whole demigod thing. You fight monsters and talk to gods for a while. You probably get used to surprises. Maybe, Jason said. I just wish I understood what happened when I was 2. Why my mom got rid of me. Thalia ran away because of me. Hey, whatever's happened, it wasn't your fault. And your sister's pretty cool. She's a lot like you. She's a lot like you. Jason took that in silence. Leo wondered if he'd said the right things. He wanted to make Jason feel better, but this was way outside of his comfort zone. Heck yeah, dude. I'm honestly sad Thalia stopped Coach from singing. Leo wished he could reach inside his tool belt and pick just the right wrench to fix Jason's memory. Maybe a little hammer, bonk the sticking spot, and make everything run right. That would be a lot easier than trying to talk it through. Not good with organic life forms. Thanks for those inherited traits, Dad. He was so lost in thought. He didn't realize the hunters had stopped. He slammed into Thalia and nearly sent them both down the side of the mountain. The hard way. Fortunately, the hunter was light on her feet. She studied them both, then pointed up. Hey, Kale, how you doing? Not quite. It's the series that follows it. We finished reading the Percy Jackson books on this channel, so we've moved on to The Lost Hero. Still by the good old Riordan himself. Are you a fan of the series? It's a real good one, man. And heck, welcome to the channel. I think you're new here, right? To give you an idea of what I do, I read books aloud on stream in an effort to practice my voice acting. It's a pretty fun time. A fair amount of the folks tend to, listen as they head to bed and fall asleep. It's almost like, your folks reading you a bedtime story. But instead of folks, you get a Merry Mitch. Heck yeah. Well, hey, I hope you enjoy the story, man. We can talk more once I finish the chapter. That, Leo choked, is a really large rock. They stood near the summit of Pikes Peak. Below them, the world was blanketed in clouds. The air was so thin, Leo could hardly breathe. Night had set in, but a full moon shone, and the stars were incredible. Stretching out to the north and south, peaks of other mountains rose from the clouds like islands or teeth. Oh, heck yeah, Kale. You come to the right place. Not called bedtime stories for no reason. But the real show was above them. Hovering in the sky, about a quarter-mile away, was a massive, free-floating island of glowing purple stone. It was hard to judge its size, but Leo figured it was at least as wide as a football stadium, and just as tall. The sides were rugged cliffs, riddled with caves, and every once in a while, a gust of wind burst out with a sound like a pipe organ blast. At the top of the rock, brass walls ringed some kind of fortress. The only thing connecting Pikes Peak to the floating island was a narrow bridge of ice that glistened in the moonlight. Then Leo realized the bridge wasn't exactly ice, because it wasn't solid. As the winds changed direction, the bridge snaked around, blurring and thinning in some places, even breaking into a dotted line like the vapor trail of a plane. "We were not seriously crossing that," Leo said. Thalia shrugged. "I'm not a big fan of heights, I'll admit. But if you want to get to Aeolus's fortress, this is the only way." "Is the fortress always hanging there?" Piper asked. "How can people not notice it sitting on top of Pikes Peak?" "The mist," Thalia said. "Still, mortals do notice it indirectly. Some days, Pikes Peak looks purple. People say it's a trick of the light, but actually it's the color of Aeolus's palace, reflecting off the mountain's face." "It's enormous." "It's enormous," Jason said. Thalia laughed. "You should see Olympus, little brother." "You're serious? You've been there?" Thalia grimaced, as if it wasn't a good memory. "We should go across in 2 different groups. The bridge is fragile." "That's reassuring," Leo said. "Jason, can't you just fly us up there?" Thalia laughed. Then she seemed to realize Leo's question wasn't a joke. "Wait, Jason, you can fly?" Jason gazed up at the floating fortress. "Well, sort of. More like I can control the winds. But the winds up here are so strong, I'm not sure I'd want to try." "Thalia, you mean... You can't fly? For a second, Thalia looked genuinely afraid. Then she got her expression under control. Leo realized she was a lot more scared of heights than she was letting on. Truthfully, she said, I've never tried. Might be better if we stuck to the bridge. Coach Hedge tapped the ice vapor trail with his hoof, then jumped onto the bridge. Amazingly, it held his weight.
Whoo! Easy! I'll go first. Piper, come on, girl. I'll give you a hand.
No, that's okay, Piper started to say, but the coach grabbed her hand and dragged her up the bridge. When they were about halfway, the bridge still seemed to be holding them just fine. Thalia turned to her hunter friend. Phoebe, I'll be back soon. Go find the others. Tell them I'm on my way. You sure? Phoebe narrowed her eyes at Leo and Jason, like they might kidnap Thalia or something. It's fine, Thalia promised. Phoebe nodded reluctantly, then raced down the mountain path, the white wolves at her heels. Jason, Leo, just be careful where you step, Thalia said. It hardly ever breaks. It hasn't met me yet. It hasn't met me yet, Leo muttered, but he and Jason led the way up the bridge. Halfway up, things went wrong. And of course, it was Leo's fault. Piper and Hedge had already made it safely to the top, and were waving at them, encouraging them to keep climbing. But Leo got distracted. He was thinking about bridges, how he would design something way more stable than this shifting ice vapor business if this were his palace. He was pondering braces and support columns. Then, a sudden revelation stopped him in his tracks. Why do they have a bridge? He asked. Thalia frowned. Leo, this isn't a good place to stop. What do you mean? They're wind spirits, Leo said. Can't they fly? Can't they fly? Yes, but sometimes they need a way to connect to the world below. So the bridge isn't always here? Leo asked. Thalia shook her head. The wind spirits don't like to anchor to the earth, but sometimes it's necessary. Like now. They know you're coming. Leo's mind was racing. He was so excited, he could almost feel his body temperature rising. He couldn't quite put his thoughts into words, but he knew he was on to something important. Leo, Jason said, what are you thinking? Oh gods, Thalia said. Keep moving. Look at your feet. Leo shuffled backwards. With horror, he realized his body temperature really was rising, just as it had years ago at the picnic table under the pecan tree, when his anger had gotten away from him. Now, excitement was causing the reaction. His band seemed to steam in the cold air. His shoes were literally smoking, and the bridge didn't like that. The ice was thinning. Leo, stop it, Jason warned. You're going to melt it. I'll try, Leo said, but his body was overheating on its own, running as fast as his thoughts. Listen, Jason. What did Era call you in that dream? She called you a bridge. Leo, seriously, calm down, Dahlia said. I don't know what you're talking about, but the bridge is... Just listen, Leo insisted. If Jason is a bridge, what's he connecting? Maybe two different places that normally don't get along? Like the air palace and the ground. You had to be somewhere before this, right? You had to be somewhere before this, right? And Era said you were an exchange. An exchange. Dahlia's eyes widened. Oh, gods. Jason frowned. What are you two talking about? Dahlia murmured something like a prayer. I understand now why Artemis sent me here. Jason, she told me to hunt for Lycaon, and I would find a clue about Percy. You are the clue. Artemis wanted us to meet so I could hear your story. I don't understand, he protested. I don't have a story. I don't remember anything. But Leo's right, Dahlia said. It's all connected. If we just knew where... Leo snapped his fingers. Jason! What did you call that place in your dream? That ruined house? The Wolf House? Dahlia nearly choked. The Wolf House? Jason, why didn't you tell me that? That's where they're keeping Era? You know where it is? You know where it is? Jason asked. Then the bridge dissolved. Leo would have fallen to his death, but Jason grabbed his coat and pulled him to safety. The two of them scrambled up the bridge, and when they turned, Dahlia was on the other side of a 30-foot chasm. The bridge was continuing to melt. Go! Dahlia shouted, backing down the bridge as it crumbled. Find out where the giant is keeping Piper's dad. Save him! I'll take the hunters to the Wolf House and hold it until you can get there. We can do both. But where is the Wolf House? Jason shouted. You know where it is, little brother. You know where it is, little brother. She was so far away that they could barely hear her voice over the wind. Leo was pretty sure she said, I'll see you there. I promise. Dude, for real. Dang it, Leo. Come on, man. Don't be having revelations on an ice bridge. Then she turned and raced down the dissolving bridge. Leo and Jason had no time to stand around. They climbed for their lives, the ice vapor thinning under their feet. Several times Jason grabbed Leo and used the winds to keep them aloft, but it was more like bungee jumping than flying. For real, dude, everyone just keeps telling him. Dude, nah, you know. You got this, Jason. What are you talking about? You know where it is. Quit. Hey, stop that, man. You know. Jason's just sitting there like, I really don't, though. I really don't. I enjoyed the story reading. Unfortunately, I have to go. I'll definitely be back here, bro. You made me relaxed. I'm glad, Kale. I hope to see you again sometime soon. Most weekdays, I'll be reading late. So, stop by. And on the weekends, I do short stories. When they reached the floating island, Piper and Coach Edge pulled them aboard just as the last of the vapor bridge vanished. They stood, gasping for breath, at the base of a stone stairway chiseled into the side of the cliff, leading up to the fortress. Leo looked back down. The top of the Pike's Peak floated below them in a sea of clouds, but there was no sign of Thalia. And Leo had just burned their only exit. "What happened?" Piper demanded. "Leo, why are your clothes smoking?" I got a little heated," he gasped. "Sorry, Jason. Honest, I didn't." "It's all right," Jason said, but his expression was grim. "We've got less than 24 hours to rescue a goddess and Piper's dad. Let's go see the King of the Winds." Snap, dude, snap. Oh, dude. We're honestly getting... Gosh, dude, we've hit like the 2/3 marker at least. 3/4, I think. Whew. We got one chapter left. This is a short one. Chapter 37. Jason. Jason had found his sister and lost her in less than an hour. As they climbed the cliffs of the floating island, he kept looking back, but Thalia was gone. Despite what she'd said about meeting him again, Jason wondered. She'd found a new family with the Hunters, and a new mother in Artemis. She seemed so confident and comfortable with her life, Jason wasn't sure if he'd ever be a part of it. And she seemed so set on finding her friend Percy. Had she ever searched for Jason that way? Not fair, he told himself. She thought you were dead. She thought you were dead. He could barely tolerate what she'd said about their mom. It was almost like Thalia had handed him a baby. A really loud, ugly baby, and said, "Here, this is yours. Carry it." He didn't want to carry it. He didn't want to look at it or claim it. He didn't want to know that he had an unstable mother who'd gotten rid of him to appease a goddess. No wonder Thalia had run away. Then he remembered the Zeus cabin at Camp Half-Blood, the tiny little alcove Thalia had used as a bunk, out of sight from the glowering statue of the sky god. Their dad wasn't much of a bargain either. Jason understood why Thalia had renounced that part of her life too. But he was still resentful. He couldn't be so lucky. He was left holding the bag. Literally. The golden backpack of winds was strapped over his shoulders. The closer they got to Aeolus's palace, the heavier the bag got. The winds struggled, rumbling and bumping around. The only one who seemed in a good mood was Coach Edge. He kept bounding up the slippery staircase and trotting back down.
"Come on, cupcakes! Only a few thousand more steps!"
Woohoo! As they climbed, Leo and Piper left Jason in his silence. Maybe they could sense his bad mood. Piper kept glancing back, worried, as if he were the one who'd almost died from hypothermia rather than she. Or maybe she was thinking about Thalia's idea. They told her what Thalia had said on the bridge. How they could save both her dad and Era. But Jason didn't really understand how they were going to do that. And he wasn't sure if the possibility had made Piper more hopeful or just more anxious. Leo kept swatting his own legs, checking for signs that his pants were on fire. He wasn't steaming anymore, but the incident on the ice bridge had really freaked Jason out. Leo hadn't seemed to realize that he had smoke coming out of his ears and flames dancing through his hair. If Leo started spontaneously combusting every time he got excited, they were going to have a rough time taking him anywhere. Jason imagined trying to get food at a restaurant. Yeah, I'll have a cheeseburger and... Ah! My friend's on fire! Give me a bucket! Go! Go! Oh! Leo! Mostly, though, Jason worried about what Leo had said. Jason didn't want to be a bridge, or an exchange, or anything else. He just wanted to know where he'd come from. And Thalia had looked so unnerved when Leo mentioned the burned house in his dreams. The place the wolf Lupa had told him was his starting point. How did Thalia know that place? And why did she assume Jason could find it? The answer seemed close, but the nearer Jason got to it, the less it cooperated. Like the winds on his back. Finally, they arrived at the top of the island. Bronze walls marched all the way around the fortress grounds, though Jason couldn't imagine who would possibly attack this place. 20-foot-high gates opened for them, and a road of polished purple stone led up to the main citadel. A white-columned rotunda, Greek-style, like one of the monuments in Washington, D.C., except for the cluster of satellite dishes and radio towers on the roof. That's bizarre, Piper said. Guess you can't get cable on a floating... Guess you can't get cable on a floating island, Leo said. Dang! Check this guy's front yard! Oh, yo! The rotunda sat in the center of a quarter-mile circle. The grounds were amazing, in a scary way. They were divided into 4 sections, like big pizza slices, each one representing a season. The section on their right was an icy waste, with bare trees and a frozen lake. Snowmen rolled across the landscape as the wind blew, so Jason wasn't sure if they were decorations or alive. To their left was an autumn park with gold and red trees, mounds of leaves blue in patterns, gods, people, animals that ran after each other before scattering back into leaves. In the distance, Jason could see 2 more areas behind the rotunda. One looked like a green pasture with sheep made out of clouds. The last section was a desert, where tumbleweeds stretched strange patterns in the sand like Greek letters, smiley faces, and huge advertisements that read, "Watch Aeolus Nightly. Aeolus Nightly." One section for each of the 4 wind gods, Jason guessed, 4 cardinal directions.
I'm loving that pasture.
Coach Edge licked his lips.
You guys mind?
Go ahead, Jason said. He was actually relieved to send the satyr off. It would be hard enough getting on Aeolus's good side without Coach Hedge waving his club and screaming, "Die!" While the satyr ran off to attack Springtime, Jason, Leo, and Piper walked down the road to the steps of the palace. They passed through the front doors into a white marble foyer. Yeah, foyer. Decorated with purple banners that read Olympian Weather Channel. And some that just read, Ow! Hello! A woman floated up to them. Literally floated. She was pretty, in that elvish way Jason associated with nature spirits at Camp Half-Blood. Petite, slightly pointed ears, and an ageless face that could have been 16 or 30. Her brown eyes twinkled cheerfully. Even though there was no wind, her dark hair blew in slow motion, all shampoo commercial style. Her white gown billowed around her like parachute material. Jason couldn't tell if she had feet, but if so, they didn't touch the floor. She had a white tablet computer in her hand. Are you from Lord Zeus? She asked. We've been expecting you. Jason tried to respond, but it was a little hard to think straight, because he'd realized the woman was see-through. Her shape faded in and out, like she was made of fog. Are you a ghost? He asked. Right away, he knew he'd insulted her. The smile turned into a pout. I'm an aura, sir. A wind nymph. And you might expect... I'm working for the Lord of the Winds. My name is Melly. We don't have ghosts. Piper came to the rescue. No, of course you don't. My friend simply mistook you for Helen of Troy, the most beautiful mortal of all time. It's an easy mistake. Wow, she was good. The compliment seemed a little over the top, but Melly the Aura blushed. Oh... Well then, so you are from Zeus? Jason said. I'm the son of Zeus, yeah. Excellent! Please, right this way. She led them through some security doors into another lobby, consulting her tablet as she floated. She didn't look where she was going, but apparently it didn't matter, as she drifted straight through a marble column with no problem. We're out of prime time now, so that's good, she mused. I can fit you right in before his 11-12 spot. Okay, Jason said. The lobby was a pretty distracting place. Winds blasted around them, so Jason felt like he was pushing through an invisible crowd. Doors blew open and slammed by themselves. The things Jason could see were just as bizarre. Paper airplanes of all different sizes and shapes sped around, and other wind nymphs, Ori, would occasionally pluck them out of the air, unfold and read them, then toss them back into the air, where the planes would refold themselves and keep flying. An ugly creature fluttered past. She looked like a mix between an old lady and a chicken on steroids. She had a wrinkled face, with black hair tied in a hairnet, arms like a human, plus wings like a chicken, and a fat, feathered body with talons for feet. It was amazing she could fly at all. She kept drifting around and bumping into things like a parade balloon. Not an aura? Jason asked Melly as the creature wobbled by. Melly laughed. That's a harpy, of course. Our, ugly stepsisters, I suppose you would say. Don't you have harpies on Olympus? They're spirits of violent gusts, unlike us, Ari. We're all gentle breezes. She batted her eyes at Jason. "Course you are," he said. "So," Piper prompted, "you were taking us to see Aeolus?" Melly led them through a set of doors, like an airlock. Above the interior door, a green light blinked. "We have a few minutes before he starts," Melly said cheerfully. "He probably won't kill you if we go in now. Come along." "Come along." "He probably won't kill you." Where have we heard that before? A certain goddess of snow, perhaps? Man. Oh, it's time for my big stretch. Whoa. Man. That was fun, dude. That was really fun. I hope some of those louder moments with Coach Hedge, thankfully there weren't too many, didn't disrupt anybody's sleep. And if you are snoozing right now, hello. This is me, Mary Mitch. Can you hear me in your dreams? That'd be pretty wild, wouldn't it be? If you can, then, bring me a shrubbery. I insist. The best shrubbery you can find. Understand? Alright, that is your mission in this dream. Now go. Okay. You know, funnily enough, that's the first time I've tried to do that. I doubt it would work, though. I don't know. Have you guys ever had that happen? It's happened to me once before, where when I was little, my mom walked in, right? I was still snoozing. It was morning time. She came in to wake me up and started talking. And was like, "Hey, Mitch, it's time to get up, yo. Get your butt out of bed and get in the shower and then get out of here and go to school, you dimbus." And I was like, still just completely conked out, you know? But in my dream, I legitimately heard her. And it freaked me out, because like I heard her, but I couldn't move my body. I was like, okay, I hear you, but I'm still asleep. Wait, what? What is this? Why haven't I woken up? And I had this moment of panic where I was genuinely like, why have I not woken up? What's going on? No, I was asleep, and I never bothered to ask during those times. You know, that does make sense. You got a good point there. Oh, you're back, May. I'm glad you got the reference, May.
We?
Oh, and you, P-dubs.
We are the knights who say me. We are no longer the knights who say me. We are now the knights that say icky icky flimbo rah.
That is very good, Sir Knights. But I've brought you your shrubbery.
We do not need a shrubbery any longer. Now we need a turkey.
Dude, the Knights of Ni was one of my favorite parts of Monty Python. I haven't seen that movie in ages, but I have a very fond memory of of my folks sending me upstairs because they were about to watch Monty Python with my brother, Annabeth, and I think a couple of their friends. And they were like, Mitch, you are too young to watch this. Go upstairs. Get out of here. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go upstairs now. See ya. And I snuck up the stairs, made sure to like make it loud so that they heard me walk all the way up, and then I paused for a moment. And then I snuck down the steps, and the way that it worked is there was a wall, and then the steps kept on going, and through the bars there, I could see the TV. So I hid behind the wall and like strafed and just hid on the stairs and watched it anyways. It was beautiful, dude. It was one of my, I don't know, it's oddly enough one of my fondest younger memories. The only thing is I can't remember if I actually got caught and then they were like, oh well, now you've like seen most of it anyways, go ahead and get down here, or if I just simply was able to watch it all without getting caught. I don't know. It is a cult classic. Yeah, Sammy. It was Metal Gear Solid.
Snake, your mission today. Sneak back downstairs right now and watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah, dude, I haven't watched it in ages. One that has been recommended to me that I haven't seen is Life of Brian. I don't know about that one though. We'll see. I have seen a couple of their like more just skits. Like some of the collection that I think was put on Netflix. The one that I remember most for some reason is the funniest joke ever written, where anybody that sees it or reads it dies from laughter. So it's just a series of like of the first person who wrote it laughing to death, and then somebody finding his dead body and being like, oh no, what happened? And he goes and he reads the thing, starts laughing his head off until he dies too. And then, you know, once enough people have gone in there and done the same thing, people, like the police put a barrier around the house and they start to treat it like this bomb defusal almost, where they're like, okay, we need to find like the like most serious man in the world or something. And I think it was done all like without dialogue too. It was so clever, man. Would recommend both. Currently on US Netflix. VPN as needed for our foreign friends. Heck yeah. That's right, Monty Python is on Netflix. I'd certainly recommend that one.
What is your favorite color?
Blue. No, red. I meant yellow. I could quote stuff from that for the rest of the stream, but I'll stop there. I think that's one of my favorites though. That and the Black Knight scene, of course. I'll bite your legs off. Get back here. We're not finished yet. Your arms are gone. Your arms are gone. So? Well, alright, guys. I think I'm gonna be wrapping up here pretty soon. I gotta be up, or I want to be up by around 10 tomorrow. This was good, though. And I am pleased to be back. And I don't know, it's really encouraging to have my first day back already have brought in 2 new folks, which is really, really cool, you know? Finn and Venus, or sorry, Finn has been here before, but you know, to have so many, like, recognizable faces and a couple of new ones was so cool. I don't know. I wasn't sure what to expect coming back after such a long hiatus. I know it was only like the weekend, so like 4 or 5 days, but still. Book in the window? Can you feel the love tonight? We're reading about gods and their children. It is great to see you back, though. Heck yeah. Sammy, what did you mean by book in the window? Do you want me to throw my book at my window? Yeah. I will not do that, though. There was a GIF that played? Oh. Was there? Weird. Oh, you can kind of see the book through the window. I see. I know what you mean. I have I have the webcam ever so slightly transparent, so that you can see the book flipping down below. Is that what you're talking about? No. Are you talking about the alerts? That could be it. Did you think I forgot about our favorite one-eyed gentleman? Never. Never. Yeah, there is. Here, I will show you. Where is my webcam? Here it is. Do you see it? There's a book flipping, pages flying over the mountain. Yeah, dude, if you could have clipped it. I don't know, I'll go back in the VOD, I guess, and look for it. I don't know, it might be hard to catch. I genuinely don't know what you're talking about. A book gif. Weird. And you're sure it's not the alerts? I think I have the alerts set to like the normal one that comes along with like the theme. But I don't know. Lay, come on. He's not insane. He's just silly. A book opening up. Cool beans. Alright, guys. Also, I don't know. My stubble is just dark. You see, I have dark brown hair. So my stubble, even if it's just like a day, like, you know, if I shave in the morning, my stubble grows throughout the day. It's most apparent on my lip for some reason. It'd be nice if it could, if like it would be, you know, that stubble that's clear on like the chin. But yeah, like like a 5 o'clock shadow. But instead of like the full shadow, it's just a mustache shadow. Which sucks. And I don't know. I don't knock anybody that has mustaches, but I do not feel that it is a thing for me, at least not at this point in my life. B-dubs, B-dubs, please. Mustache from the past. Right on. Well, alright guys, now that we have the mustache explained, I'll start with the outro. Seriously guys, much love. You know, Sammy sang a little bit of Can You Feel the Love? And I really do feel the love tonight. So, thank you all for being here. Hit me with that outro music. I love each and every one of you. And it means the world to me that you guys made it tonight. I hope it was pleasant, enjoyable, super duper rad, bootylicious, in fact. And I hope to see you tomorrow for some more bedtime stories, as we find out whether or not Aeolus will kill our heroes or help them with their incoming deadline, which could very well be a death line. Right on. Cool beans, guys. Take care, and remember to take the merriment that we found tonight together. Hold it close to your heart. Let it set you at ease as you lay your head on your pillow tonight, and let it flourish into the morrow. I'll see you next time, wildflowers. Till then, keep on swaying.
Thank you.